Your Worship, Mayor Bevilacqua, Honorable Del Duca, and Honorable Greg Sorbera, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In the manner we greet ourselves, peace and blessings of God be upon all of you. I want to thank Mayor Bevilacqua for hosting this event, and also want to thank our special Master of Ceremonies, Honorable Greg Sorbera, for providing the MC duties this evening. And thank you very much for your kind remarks about me. Both of these gentlemen have been great friends of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community for many years, and we share a close bond with them, as well as many others in this room tonight. I'll not be able to name all of them. We thank you all for your friendship. Thank you, all of you, for spending this evening with us as we celebrate our 50 years of presence in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a special year for the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at of Canada. It has been 50 years since we came here and called this great country our home. 50 incredible years indeed. I can speak for all Canadian Ahmadi Muslims when I say that coming to Canada was one of the greatest blessings we have ever received. And we thank God for this. Canada indeed is the best country in the world, and Vaughan is the best city. Many of us have come from humble beginnings, and will always thank God for providing us this blessing of living here. We moved our national headquarters to Vaughan over 3 decades ago when it was still a town. And now we have seen Vaughan grow into a wonderful city, and we are proud to call Vaughan our home. The warm embrace that Canada, Vaughan, and the likes of our wonderful hosts have shown to us over the years has in return sparked a deep and genuine love in our hearts for this great country and this city. And as such, we want to be the servants of this great country and city. Our focus truly and sincerely is on service to mankind and betterment of Canada. The founder of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, peace be upon him, laid great emphasis on service to mankind when he said, and I quote, "My purpose, my yearning, and my heartfelt desire is to serve humanity. This is my job, this is my faith, this is my want, and this is my way of life," end of quote. This is our way of life, this is our faith. These words are true embodiment of the message of peace, service of humanity, and universal brotherhood taught by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, Holy Quran, and by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him. And this is what we, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, endeavor to fulfill to our utmost. This spirit of service has characterized what we have tried to present for the last 50 years. In prayer and in service is how we show our love for this country, whether it's the several dozen annual Canadian blood services clinics we host across the country, or the many food drives we conduct in dozens of cities, or the charitable runs in various regions, including the Run for Vaughan, mentioned earlier by our MC, initiated to bring a much-needed hospital to this great city. Similarly, every Remembrance Day, we run a nationwide campaign called Muslims for Remembrance Day to help commemorate the sacrifices made by our veterans who fought and gave their lives to protect our freedom. Likewise, Humanity First Canada, the official charitable wing of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, operates a food bank here in Vaughan and has sponsored over 100 refugee families within the last few months. And this year, to mark our 50-year anniversary in Canada, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat is carrying out the Million Pounds of Food campaign, a nationwide initiative of our youth wing to raise 1 million pounds of food to help alleviate hunger in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, over these last 50 years, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat has been dedicated to do whatever we can to ensure that Canada will always remain the greatest country in the world. This is our home, and this is the land we love. to give back to Canada and to do whatever we can and to enrich the lives of our fellow Canadians and to make this country better is our religious duty. It was the Holy Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, peace and blessings of God be upon him, who once said that love of your country is part of your faith. This is why we have a patriotic zeal that burns within us and colors our every action. During these past 50 years, we have aimed to be contributing citizens and to make this country even better than what it is. I can say with full confidence that our next 50 years, as our MC hinted, will not just be a duplication of our efforts to date, but rather will be an exponential increase in our service, our dedication, and our devotion to this country, inshallah. In the end, I would like to close with a simple prayer that encapsulates the feelings of our hearts. In the words of the fourth Khalifa of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at, Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad, many of whom you dearly remember, I say in his words, my prayer is that the whole world becomes Canada and that Canada becomes the whole world. May God make it so.
Am I here, please? Sorry, excuse me. Thank you.
What a pleasure it is for us in council to host this beautiful event to celebrate 50 years. You're just starting, of course. One of the things that in an era where people promote a great deal of religionless spirituality, which means no structure, no history, no wisdom, it's great to see that faith-based organizations throughout our country can, in fact, bring about positive change.
Thank you very much, Asif. Assalamu alaikum. It is a great honor for me to be the MC for this 50th anniversary celebration. It seems like just yesterday, and yet, you know, when you think about it, and the presence of Islam over the course of centuries and centuries, this is, in 50 years, a new seed planted in this great country. And I think this is worthy of great celebration and joy. It is a fact that the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'at is the fastest growing religious organization in the entire country. 25 years ago, this community decided to make the city of Vaughan its home. Some of us have very vivid memories of that time. A new and different community was moving to Vaughan, a community at that time dominated primarily by Italian Canadians, was planning to build a mosque in the community. There were some who thought, is this something that we really want in our community? Well, the decisions were made, and the right decisions were made, and thank God that they were made. Because since that time, the Ahmadiyya community has been one of the most powerful forces for good in the entire country. And I'll just say a word or two about that in a moment. But just to continue on the subject of growth, and I have to look at my list because 50 years ago, there was a very small community. Since that time, and the creation of a national headquarters in Vaughan, communities have been established in Brampton, where a new mosque is under construction, in Mississauga, in Milton, in Montreal, in Ottawa and Calgary, where a beautiful mosque was built several years ago. I had the honor of actually being at the opening of that mosque. In Edmonton and Saskatoon and Vancouver, the Ahmadiyya community has now over 65 chapters across the country and has created communities as well in Newfoundland, in Halifax, Charlottetown, Fort McMurray, Lloydminster, Yellowknife, and Whitehorse, where right now it is very dark, except for the light of the Ahmadiyya community.
Oh, I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, that Greg's a tough act to follow, not just as the MPP for Vaughan, but also at a podium. He's not entirely right about how we fix the bridge, though. I guess I can give you all the update here tonight. In typical male Canadian fashion, I use duct tape. It's working. In all seriousness, that's not true. That's not how we are repairing the bridge, and it is a very serious issue in Northern Ontario and for the country. I'm really thrilled to be here tonight, and of course, between Greg and our mayor and Mr. Malik and some of the other speakers who've come forward, there has been much that's been shared. I think very profound words about the impact, the positive impact that the Ahmadiyya Muslim community has made right across Canada, but certainly here in Vaughan. I would say, because there's not much left to say at this point, because Greg and the mayor and others have spoken so eloquently about the contribution that's been made over the last 50 years, I would say, I think when you listen to the remarks that have been made from the podium tonight, you hear, not just in the words themselves, but in the emphasis and in the tone, you hear that level of respect, you hear that level of affection that is very, very sincere and very authentic. And that's because of the contribution and the work and the ongoing passion that the Ahmadiyya community has displayed over the last 50 years. The only thing that I wanted to add, I mean, in addition to saying thank you not only from myself as the MPP for this community, but of course on behalf of Premier Kathleen Wynne and the entire Ontario government. The only other thing that I wanted to add is that I think that Greg will remember this, and the mayor certainly knows, and members of council and Deb and Francesco would know this as well. There are times in the life of people who are privileged to serve as elected representatives that there may be issues, there may be files that are particularly challenging. So I'll speak for myself in this case. There are occasions in which sometimes being involved in this kind of business can, I don't want to say can get you down, but can make you wonder about exactly why you do it on a regular basis. And to the Ahmadiyya community, I have to say, I'll say for myself personally, the level of involvement, the level of participation, the passion and the profound energy that you bring to building a stronger community for yourselves and your families, but also for the broader community in Vaughan, and frankly for all of Canada, is something that's an inspiration. And that's an inspiration that helps, I'll say, in myself, and I'm certain in many of the other elected officials in the room, it helps provide us with the motivation and then the inspiration to match that contribution, to live up to that contribution and that standard that you've set for our community, and to be so proud to work with you as partners, and so proud, in my case, to represent you in terms of your headquarters in Ontario's legislature. So for all that you have done for the last 50 years, for that sense of community spirit, and for that passion that you bring to all you do, and for giving back, and for all of the wonderful things that have been talked about tonight, I want to say thank you. And you know, even thinking about the, and this is, I know I've mentioned this from the podium in the past at your convention, even thinking about the, I don't like to use the word slogan, because it's not really just a slogan, it's more than a slogan, it's a way of life, the notion of love for all and hatred for none. That seems to me, particularly at this point in time, here in Canada, and particularly across North America and the world, with what's happening, with all of the challenges that we face, with all that we have to confront as a civilization, that seems to me to be a particularly fitting way to view how we will work together, how we must work together in order to overcome the challenges that we face. And so I want to thank you for not only coming up with this notion, but for each and every day of the year, for each of the last 50 years, and let's hope for the next 50 generations. Thank you for living this. Thank you for bringing this to us.
What an honor it is to have the opportunity to say a few words at this very important occasion, and to be here with my colleague, Francesco, and also to be here with MP Stephen Del Duca and yourself, former minister and an amazing force in the community, and also to be here with my past colleagues on council. It's a true tribute to the importance of this community, of this amazing Ahmadiyya community, that you would attract so many leaders and so many politicians to be here celebrating your community and celebrating what you've achieved. I'm incredibly proud And I think one of the things you asked was, let's have a couple of little stories that may be relevant and unique to those that are going to come up here, and how your organization has meant so much to us. You know, having faced persecution in your home country, you spread out across the world, you settled around with a mantra or mandate and a belief of love for all and hatred for none. And you've worked really, really hard all around the world to build better, stronger communities for all of us, and we're incredibly grateful. My personal story is, it goes back almost 10 years, and it really starts, the first contact I had was with the ladies. The ladies connected and reached out. They wanted to green their Mina Bazaar, and they were trying to get the city to do a few extra things to help them do that. And I had the opportunity to get involved with them and realize what a passionate group. And I remember we were even to the point of digging around in the garbage to make sure that we did a really good job for the city. And I was so incredibly impressed with the dedication of the ladies and their ambition to, you know, to do better. And I also had some tree planting activities in the community, and as soon as they heard about that, they said, please let us be involved in that. And your community came out and planted, I think, something like 2,000 trees and shrubs in our local valley. So every time I walk my dog, I walk past all of those wonderful trees that your community had a very strong hand in making sure were there. So this is my personal experience. And of course, with the fellows and also the whole community, the Run for Vaughan. So I'm just so incredibly thankful for everything you do. I got involved in the Out of the Cold, and the next thing you know, who's doing Out of the Cold? You guys are doing Out of the Cold. And for what you're doing right now, we as a government are incredibly grateful. We have a tough challenge of integrating a large number of Syrian refugees into our communities. And the first thing I turned around, and who's there? I don't even know about it until I find out in the media what you are doing. You've reached out every Sunday. You have a session to try and help those that are coming here learn how to integrate better. Give them a hand and make sure that they can have meaningful, full engagement in Canada. And we are so incredibly grateful for that. I could go on and on. However, it's safe to say Vaughan is a better place because of the services and the outreach the community does. And I'm proud to be the Member of Parliament supporting and representing you all in Ottawa. Thank you for all you do.
This was a hugely momentous event, a milestone for the Ahmadiyya community, which you now all know is located in my community of Maple that I represent. I'm very, very proud of everything that the Ahmadiyyans do. And I think, as I remember telling the mayor of Delta, BC, at the opening of the mosque, this is a group of people that don't ask for anything, never do, but they give so much back to the community. And we are so blessed to have you here. So for this milestone, I needed to do something really special, something that commemorates and will live on forever. So these are commemorative stamps from Canada Post, and it's the logo of this year's 50th anniversary.